my water just broke. I felt like things really intensified.
She was right there and she was coming.
It was an amazing feeling.
I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. I could feel her head.
We heard her cry. We were squeezing hands and she was screaming.
I'm Bryn Hunt Palmer, and you're listening to The Birth Hour. This podcast is designed as a safe place to come together and share childbirth stories. Stick around and join us to hear informative and empowering birth journeys from all over the world. If you're new to the Birth Hour, you may not know that we have an online childbirth course that is evidence-based. It includes 12 modules that take you from your final weeks of pregnancy through obviously preparing for birth and then postpartum and feeding your baby as well. And with enrollment in that course, which is called Know Your Options, you'll get free access to our other course called Beyond the First Latch, where we talk all about pumping, feeding baby, storing milk, going back to paid work if that's part of your plan, all of those things as well. Okay, so if you go to thebirthhour.com/course, you can see everything laid out in the course, module by module, as well as an FAQ section, which will hopefully answer some of your questions if you have any, things like how to get it covered by an FSA account and things like that. It also talks about the bonuses that come with the course, including bi-monthly Zoom calls and access to our private Facebook group. So again, that's thebirthhour.com/course. And you can use the coupon code 100OFF for $100 off enrollment as a podcast listener. We would also love to welcome you into our listener supporter group via Patreon. That's at patreon.com/birthhour. And by becoming a Patreon supporter, you get access to all of our archived episodes. This podcast launched in 2015, so we have over 800 episodes in the archives that are not in the main podcast feed. So you can get your fill of birth stories. And you'll also get access to our private Facebook group for Patreon members, which is a great place to honestly just to search the past posts to get answers to questions, but then of course to ask new questions, find community. It's a really, really great supportive group of people. So I highly recommend joining that. We would love to have you there. We also do monthly Zoom calls with our Patreon supporters, and you get an opportunity to enter your birth story via a different submission form than everyone else uses, and we choose 2 Patreon members each month to share their birth stories. So that is again at patreon.com/birthhour. Today's guest is Shafia, and she is a midwife who has had 7 babies of her own. So she shares her birth stories with us today, with the focus mostly on her first and how she really lacked postpartum care with that first birth and what she learned from that. And then she talks about her 7th birth and how that was a hospital birth. And so she got to see kind of both sides of the system there. And we talk about the importance of mothering the mother postpartum and how the work that she's done as a midwife and as coming from the culture of being an African-American woman inspired her recent book, which is actually called Mothering the Mother, African-American Postpartum Tradition, Recipes, and Healing. So it's a fun discussion at the end after she shares her birth stories. Today's episode is in partnership with Air Doctor. I wasn't sleeping very well at night, and it turned out my home's air quality was messing with my sleep quality. Since discovering Air Doctor, both me and my kids are sleeping better, and I've noticed fewer odors and less allergy symptoms, which is a pretty big deal because I live in Austin, Texas, which is known for awful allergies. And I'm not alone. In fact, over 93% of Air Doctor customers notice fewer allergy symptoms, including less congestion, stuffy noses, and itchy eyes. Air Doctor's powerful 3-stage filtration captures extremely small particles, about 100 times smaller than what typical air purifiers can remove. This includes capturing airborne contaminants that you don't want your family breathing in, like dust, pollen, mold spores, pet dander, wildfire smoke, bacteria, viruses, odors, smoke, ozone, and VOCs. I absolutely love the whisper quiet operation of Air Doctor. It's much quieter than the other air purifiers I've tried. The auto mode feature ensures optimal air 24/7, and the Air Doctor gives a change filter reminder so there's no guesswork. Try the Newsweek Reader's Choice Award winner for Best Air Purifier today and enjoy the peace of mind that you and your little ones are breathing cleaner air. Head to airdoctorpro.com and use the promo code BIRTHHOUR to get up to $300 off today. Air Doctor comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee plus a 3-year warranty, which is an $84 value, all for free. Get this exclusive podcast-only offer now at airdoctorpro.com, airdoctorpro.com, using promo code BIRTHHOUR. Today's episode is sponsored by Little Spoon. Anyone who's a parent knows feeding decisions are not a one-time thing. You make them again and again as your little one enters new stages and phases. Often the options out there for kids, whether you're feeding a baby, a toddler, or a big kid, don't meet the standards that you want for your child, and you end up compromising on ingredients, nutrition, transparency, even safety. On top of everything else, parents are juggling that constant uncertainty is exhausting. And simply put, families deserve better. That's why I love Little Spoon. It's one trusted place to shop meals and snacks for babies, toddlers, and big kids, all made with real ingredients without having to rethink every choice or lower your standards at each developmental milestone. It shows up at your door and takes one big decision off your plate without compromising on what's important to you. I especially love the foods Little Spoon offers for the toddler stage. Their biteables are cut-to-size, pinchable meals that make the transition to table food feel easy. They support self-feeding skills and expand your toddler's palate while providing real nutrition at the same time. I also love how easy they are to bring on the go for daycare and caregivers, so you can know that your little one is getting a nutritious meal, even when you're not there, that's been tested for over 500 contaminants, including heavy metals. They also have fun snacks like their puffs, which every toddler I've met absolutely loves, especially when they're teething, and their foods for babies like their baby blends are amazing as well. Feeding your kids doesn't have to be complicated. Little Spoon makes it easy with real nutritionally balanced meals and snacks designed for every stage. It shows up ready to go, takes the pressure off, and somehow still gets devoured, veggies and all. No artificial dyes, flavors, or sweeteners either. And that's a win I'll take every time. Get 30% off your first online order at littlespoon.com/TBH with the code TBH. That's littlespoon.com/TBH with the code TBH for 30% off your first order. All right, let's hear from today's guest, Shafia. Hi, Shafia. Welcome to the Birth Hour. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Hi, Bryn. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. I'm excited. We're going to hear some birth stories from you today and talk about postpartum. Before we do all that, can you tell listeners just a little bit about you and your family?
Well, I am the proud wife of a wonderful husband, a mother of 7 now adult children, 7 grandchildren who I actually caught as a midwife, 2 grandchildren. And I live in a little area where my neighbors are amazing, and I grow herbs and vegetables.
Awesome. All right. Well, I know we're going to hear 2 of your 7 birth stories today, the first and the last. So let's start with your first and maybe just kind of what type of birth you envisioned even before we get to the birth story, what you planned for.
Well, I think people's upbringing makes them think a certain way. So for myself, I was expecting this really bad experience, to be honest. I was expecting a lot of pain and drama and things like that. I did have a home birth. I went into labor. My mucus plug came out, and I saw it. I was so proud. I actually ran and showed it to my husband because it came out so neat on my tissue. He's like, okay, great. Then I walked around. I had a 24-hour labor. At some point, I called the doctor who came to my home. I had a doctor for my home birth. Back then, I couldn't find any midwives. One of my friends came over who was a labor and delivery nurse at one of the local hospitals. So she sat next to me in one chair, and my husband sat in the other chair, and I was in our full-size bed on my back for about 18 hours, just waiting for this horrible thing to happen that actually never happened. And at some point, I think the doctor, he was in another room sleeping. I guess he must have heard the sounds that sound like someone's pushing. And he came into the room and told me, to keep pushing. And then he said, at some point, stop pushing. And I remember saying, no matter what, don't cut me. And I kept pushing, and out came this gorgeous little 7 pounds, 8 ounce little boy. So it was pretty straightforward. Just the fact, no water, no food. He did say once, do you want to get up? But I didn't think that was possible, so I did not get up because the people who were with me weren't really skilled to know what to do. They just sat there with me. So there it was, no food, no water, on my back, and had a beautiful home birth. And I would do it again.
Okay. Well, and you did.
I know. Thank you.
So how was postpartum with that baby?
Well, the postpartum is interesting. I did not go through any deep depression, but, this is the time where people did not know. And actually, today, people really still don't know how to help. So I did have my baby at home. My husband went to work the next day. I was alone. No one came to see me or bring me food or anything. I just remember, breastfeeding my baby, watching the shows, and eating cereal during the day. My husband's a great cook, so once he got home, he would cook. But it was really problem free. I remember on the 10th day, I had to go back to college, and I didn't know. Now we say like stay home, don't do anything. And I tied my baby arm on the 10th day. I went back to college, a full-time student. And I remember he was like in a little sack. And I remember one day when I was in college, I think he made some noise, and I took him out of the little sack. And the doc's like, the professor's like, oh my goodness, I had no idea that you had a baby in there. Everybody loved it. He'd been coming to school with me since he was 10 days old. I was up and about walking and moving and, eating well and just doing my thing, just staying focused. I wanted to finish school, and that's what kept me just motivated to do what I was doing. So I didn't go through a lot of, weird people, or I did call my sisters kind of aggravated, like, why haven't you all come by to see me? And they did show up. And that was that. No pain, no tear.
Nice.
I as soon as he was born, I took a shower, walked to the shower, took a shower. And, like I said, my husband cooked, I ate, he went to work, I ate cereal, held my baby, breastfed him. I do remember thinking, I sleep so heavy. I was so concerned that being a first-time mom, I was so afraid I would not hear my baby cry. And I was so excited when I woke up. I'm like, oh, my God, I heard him cry. I can wake up. So that was my realization that as a mom, most of us, we have those normal instinct that you're going to wake up when your baby cries. I didn't think that I would. So I did wake up and, fed him, and he grew up. And yes.
All right. Okay. So then I know you said you wanted to also talk about your last birth, but since there are 5 in between,
Right.
maybe just like anything you would share about those that maybe led to the way you approached your last birth.
The second one was fun because she was 2 hours. And I remember wanting to eat a peach pie. I made this peach pie. And so I'm determined to eat this pie. I was in active labor. I said, I don't care. I'm going to eat this pie. I called my midwife friends, like, why did you call me sooner? It's your second baby. You could be having any second. It's always shorter, which I did not realize. And of course, as soon as my friend came over, who's also the midwife, I ate the pie, I vomited, water broke, and here she came.
Wow.
I did get a tear on that one, and I did go to the hospital with that tear, and they told me I needed surgery, and I decided I wasn't going to go back for surgery. I sat in a bunch of herbs for 6 weeks, and it healed up perfectly according to the medical team who saw me 6 weeks later. And there, my husband stayed home this time a little bit longer, and my sisters came over this time because they told me the first time show up and help me out. And so they did, and we had fun, and I ate and enjoyed my baby, and they held the baby. I didn't do like any housework or anything, just kind of laid around the bed and chilled out a little bit. And then for the third one, I tried to have him by myself, unassisted birth, with too many people around me. My 2 children, their 4 friends, a girlfriend, somebody who I hardly knew was in the room. And so I couldn't do it because I think it was just too many people. So when the midwife came, I felt safe. And again, I remember getting on my hands and knees, and he came out 8 pounds, 2 ounces. And then my 2 girls, they were easy. I had all easy births. So I'm going to jump to the 7th one, because the 7th one was the one in the hospital. So I had 6 home births, the last one in the hospital.
Okay.
That one was my first challenge because, I couldn't seem to go into labor. I was trying all the natural things that you had to do. My water had broken, and the midwives are there and doing certain things. I mean, obviously the baby was doing great, thank goodness. But on my own, my mother with that internal voice said, it's not going to work here, Shafia. You need to go to the hospital. Unfortunately, I always check in with the midwives for my care, even though I'm going to be a home birth candidate. So I was able to call them and say, I'm going to come in. Things aren't going as I need them to go. So I went to the hospital, and there, Bryn, I got the complete works. I got the IV, which I never thought I would have. I got the Pitocin. I got the internal monitor. I got the external monitor. I was on my back. So that was all very different for me.
Yeah.
But she was still born, very nicely. And I'll be honest, I appreciate going to the nurse midwives because with my water broke for 3 days, I went to the medical part of the hospital. They might have said cesarean section. Oh, water broke for 3 days, infection. Let's, who knows what they would have said. So I was glad that I had the nurse midwife said, everything's fine. I'm just going to let you have your vaginal birth. So that worked out well. And then when I had that baby, everybody in the world came over. They would clean my house, bring me gifts. People were cooking, had flowers. I just sat around. The funny part, my daughter had her baby, her first baby. I think it was born like 2 months after my baby.
Okay.
So here I am with my daughter with her first baby, and I'm with her mother with her sixth sibling. So that was interesting. We're both on the couch together, and I remember saying, like, can you help my baby? Like, I got my own baby. So I couldn't really be a grandma for her.
Yeah.
But together we had good postpartum care. She was visiting from Boston. But I just learned from all the experiences just to learn to ask for help. With the first baby, no one came by, and I really didn't ask for help. But at the end, I did. And so little by little, each of my births, people understood for me, I did need to have companionship. I did need to be seen and to be heard. I did need to feel that people wanted to celebrate with me. But I had to teach them that. So when we got this seventh one, people who knew me and had been talking over the years, they came through. So it was a very beautiful experience.
Yeah. So how did all of this play into the work that you did? And I know you have a book now. Let's talk about that.
Well, I think it plays in the fact that, I'm already a midwife. So I was already a midwife when I was having my children. That kind of gave me a little edge on what to expect and what to do and things like that. But for me, I feel like, and maybe you can jump in, Bryn, I feel like my postpartum experience is very different than what I hear right now on social media. I'm hearing a lot of mothers really, struggling with depression and anxiety and, not being happy, feeling overwhelmed. They're like, oh my goodness, what is happening? This is supposed to be a time of celebration, a time of joy, a time of feeling loved and seen and cared for. You just did a wonderful act. You brought forth a new person into the world, and you deserve to be honored. So being a midwife for over 30 years and helping so many mothers with home births and them having a first experience without the support, and then my coming along with my philosophy and care, it's like, oh, this is so different. I needed this with my first two babies, where, they're being waited on. I'm bringing them food constantly. I'm taking the plate away. They're getting a daily back massage. We're changing their sheets. We're running the water with, comfrey and calendula and little roses floating around. And we're bringing them tea, and we're saying, it's okay, take a rest, don't get up, I'll do that for you. You deserve this. You're doing a great job. And by the way, you look absolutely amazing. You look so beautiful. And so they're like this light, and it's like, oh my God, this is just great. And I've been doing it for like about 10 years. So let me write a book about this, because people are saying, how do I find this information? Like, what is this called? And for us, for the African American culture, is what we did. The mother really mothers her daughter. Mm-hmm. And my daughter, when she had her second baby and my baby was older, I did go to her state and treated her that way. When she woke up, the hot water bottle was already on her uterus. She woke up, the tea was already by her side. She was having a lot of pain. She was getting warm compresses. With cesarean section, mom, helping them get out the bed because they just had surgery. They need that little extra, pull them up to the sitting side of the bed. And so such reviews, I wanted to document it so that anybody can read this book and say, as a mother, hey, first of all, this is what I deserve. But for those who love that mom who didn't know what to do, can say, oh, I can read this book now, and I'm supposed to say nice things to her. I'm supposed to bring her food. I'm supposed to make sure her room looks nice. I'm supposed to make sure there's fresh flowers in her room. I can recognize postpartum depression compared to the baby blues. Mm-hmm. The baby blues can be so many days, but after that, when someone still continues to feel sad and see darkness and not want to take care of themselves, and they really don't want to hold their baby, okay, I need to get some help for her, as opposed to, you just need to try harder. That didn't happen to me. And, having that empathy, because now there's a book that people can read to understand. And the book is very positive. It's not about like, oh, woe was me, all this bad stuff. It's all about mothers are amazing. They deserve the best. They've done this a miracle of a job called, I don't think people can really understand her. I feel like someone just brought forth a new life into the world. What can supersede that? Mm-hmm. Nothing. There's nothing beyond that, because without that mother bringing forth life, we would have no world. Yeah. And already we hear our country saying we have a shortage of babies now. Oh my goodness, we're trying to pay for, please, let's have some more children, because we didn't value children for the last 30 years. Like, oh, don't have them. Now it's like our country's not being built because there's not a future. So I just want moms to know they're amazing and wonderful. They deserve the best. There's no shame, no matter how many you have. And you deserve to be cared for and nurtured during those delicate time, which for me, I focus on the first 42 days. That's when people have the most physiological and emotional changes. The hormones up. So, your back hurt, just push the baby out. Maybe your bottom is hurting. The birth canal's uncomfortable. Maybe you decide to breastfeed or not, but your breasts are getting heavy. Like, what do you do with them? And, you're sweating and the baby's crying. Like, it doesn't have to be a bad time with somebody who's there to support you. It will be a good time. They're going to just super intervene and remind you this is all normal. It's only temporary. The babies grow up. As you know, they become adults, they become toddlers, they move out one day, and it's not going to stay like this. And to look at it as a positive experience. And so that's what the book is about. Bringing forth the postpartum traditions. We have some great recipes in there. What do we eat after the baby's born? So I had one mom. She had 3 children. At the 4th baby, I helped her at home, and I made this amazing, I have to brag, it was very good, collard green, coconut, chicken curry soup.
Yum.
So, coconut milk, has electrolytes. It's a marathon people drink. The curry's all spicy, immune with turmeric, so that's going to prevent inflammation. The soup itself is hydrating because I say, you cry during your labor, you're leaking milk, you're bleeding, you're urinating, you might have vomited. So it's very easy to become dehydrated. We now know that a lot of moms who feel a lot of stress postpartum, it's not physiological or situational. They're just dehydrated. We're giving them casseroles and fries and toast. And they need all these soups. And so this was the soup that I made. And she's like, oh, my goodness, I've never felt so strong so soon. And so since the book, because we shouldn't be weak after baby. Having a baby is not an illness. If you had a cesarean section, that's surgery. That's very different. It is an illness. You have to recover from the birth and from surgery. That's 2 things. And that mom needs all the support, all the more support.
Yeah.
Or if they lost their baby. Look at that postpartum experience. I've helped moms go home to the house, and Brent, I can't even tell you the darkness in that home because you can tell that something's missing. And so, how do we support moms postpartum with that? With the soups, the wrapping the stomachs, hot showers, hot baths, warm sesame seed oil with echinacea for backache, prayers, a lot of prayers, special smells for all the moms, but particularly the mom who doesn't have a baby to hold. And so the book, again, is just to cover all of those things with the soups and what kind of teas to drink to get the uterus to get strong again, to shrink correctly. Another thing, to prevent anemia. Most women suffer from anemia in this country just because of the way that we eat. So we enter our pregnancy anemic. So again, we now know that if you are low iron or AKA anemic postpartum, you're more prone to have more pain because you don't have the oxygen in your body to tolerate. Your tolerance level is low. And also, we now know that anemia causes postpartum depression. It attributes to depression because your brain's not getting enough oxygen. So things that we just took for granted, that book explains these things and why we should eat, our chicken livers or our collard greens or our pot liquor or get your homeopathic iron, whatever you're going to do, why it needs to be taken seriously. And the families, mom's not just being irritable and she's not tripping. She's not like just being icky. There's something going on. Either not giving her enough love, she needs more hydration, or she might be anemic, or she might be cold. It's like a little child. Like the baby's crying, who's a 2-year-old, they're acting up, but that child's either usually hungry or thirsty. Yeah. And by the time you give them some water, they kind of calm down. I always tell people, before you give your children juice, please give them a cup of water. And then they change their behavior. Because, give them juice. No, nothing beats water. We come from water. Literally, the amniotic fluid is the exact composition of the ocean. And so we need to keep ourselves well hydrated. And I know growing up, we were never told to drink water. It was like, no one told you that. All day. Like, who said drink water? But now we know better. Now it's like people got water bottles and they're buying water, and we got water filters. But a lot of people still don't understand for the postpartum mom, she needs extra water because she's lost so much water in the first 42 days. And also, that's, like I was saying, that's the time when more morbidities happen. More mothers get ill, like hemorrhaging, hypertension, the depression, the hemorrhoids, the sore area, but all that can be prevented. And that's what I love to do. I love to come in. If you just had a baby, let's come in and just like mother you. That's why it's called Mothering the Mother.
Yeah.
If you loved your mother, if you were raised by a loving mother, it's just you getting that same love again. And that makes us feel good, right? That brings the oxytocin level up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I know one book that is recommended a lot on the podcast is The First 40 Days, where, they're looking at it from the Chinese cultural tradition. And I love that now we have this perspective from African American postpartum traditions, because like you mentioned earlier, we just, for some reason, don't have that as the cultural norm here in the U.S., that caring for the mother. Everyone's excited about the pregnancy and the baby shower and even the birth. Like, how much did the baby weigh? And then it's just kind of like, we'll see you when you're able to like hang again,
Exactly.
Yeah.
We do a thing now called the mother shower. So we don't do baby showers. We do the mother shower. We shower the mother during the pregnancy, and we give her all the gifts, because the baby's not here yet. So we give her all the gifts.
Yeah, and babies don't need much.
They don't, and then people come to the mother shower, commit that, let's say 8 people come, each one ties a string around their wrist until you go into labor, and they take it off. But they said verbally that I will come every Wednesday for 3 weeks, or I'll come one Wednesday. But they make a commitment, so at least we know that.
Oh, wow.
You're going to see somebody of these, because what the baby shower is going to be 20 people. No one made a commitment. They don't come. They just drop off 5 car seats, 4 breast pumps, and box of diapers. Because they don't understand that that's not what we need. We need their time and their love and their prayer to nurture and to mother the mother.
And is that in the book as well?
It is.
I love that. That just like made me a little teary-eyed. Like, I wish I'd had that.
Yes.
I love that.
The mother shower part is not in the book.
Oh, okay.
But the other part is. And my husband said, you should have put that in the book. But I said, well, I'll have to write a second book now.
Yeah, we need a whole book about that. That's amazing.
Right.
Awesome. One thing I've also noticed recently is even with home birth midwives, you're not getting that level of care. I don't know if it's just because there's so many more people having home births, or it's just in order to, pay their bills, they can't give that kind of attention. I don't know what it is, but I had 3 home births myself, and my middle one was in Oregon actually, and was a traditionally trained older woman midwife. And that was a very nurturing experience. She made me soup after baby was born, came every day for 7 days. I got like a hot stone belly, like ceremony, all these things. And with my other ones, it was not like that. It was, the very set. We'll be there, 24 hours after, then we'll be there 1 week after, and then you'll come to us 2 weeks after. And some people aren't even getting that, So what do you think is going on there with even the midwives are kind of losing sight of that nurturing? I'm
so glad you brought that up, because I am that older midwife. And I think the newer generation has had to prove that they're qualified, and they've had to pick up the Western medicalization of birth. Everything that we fought, they began to imitate that, unfortunately. And now we're expecting the doulas to cover what the midwives used to cover.
Right.
And now the doulas are also changed. Some of them aren't even doing the same thing. So it's just to kind of re-educate. And I guess I would tell a client to talk to their midwife to, first of all, know what you want, and say, is there any warmth involved in this? Because you're right. Blood pressure, Doppler, baby's out, weigh the baby, give a shot, and we'll see you. Call me if something happens. No back rub. No change the bed. No postpartum baths. Like, that's what we had the home birth for. We wanted that type of care.
Yeah. And it's making it to where people can't afford that as an option because insurance doesn't cover it. And doulas cost as much as midwives in a lot of cases now. I know I couldn't have had both. So yeah, it's a shame that we're getting away from that. And again, I guess it's another reason for your community to kind of pick up some of that slack, even when you're having a home birth, but also with hospital births when you're coming home to just no support at all.
Yeah, I just think women, think that, we as health consumers have to it was the women and the people as a whole that created the change. We even have a birth center. We have, rooming in the hospital where we have birth tubs. So I think we have to stop pushing that we want. Not tell people, I don't want the fact that I'm glad that insurance extended. I'm glad that women can go in for, more postpartum checks. Those postpartum checks are not nurturing checks. They're just going in and getting no one's rubbing your shoulders or, like I said, putting hot stones in your stomach. Just to go in for a visit is not fulfilling what she needs. She needs that support in her environment. In our book, she needs to stay home for 42 days. And so she has to go in on day 3 to check the jaundice, back on day 7 to check with the lactation consultant, back on day 12 to check for, the first shot. Then what we say as a society that the mother should be resting, she's not resting because she has to keep getting up to make these visits. Car seat in the car, pick up the baby, go up the elevator, then go sit, wait your turn. So it's like 2 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see a mom, like, you're exhausted. I said, I had to go see my baby's doctor again. This is my second time this week. I'm like, oh my goodness, no wonder you're so tired.
Yeah, plus they're not getting any rest in the hospital after they have their baby with the constant.
Right, waking you up every second, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, yeah, we have a lot of work to do there, but I think that your book is going to be such a gift to people to have by their side when they are home and recovering through all these things.
And I really tell people that it'd be good to read the book before they have a baby, because
100%, yeah.
You want to know ahead of time.
You want to show it to your partner and their family, yeah.
Exactly, your mother, your mother-in-law, even your midwives, your doula. This is what I'm looking for. You can decide in the book what things you want, or if you want to add more, but at least you have a sense of what this should look like. It should look like a beautiful thing. If you see the book, the mother has a gown on. She's the queen. She has her hat's like a little crown, and there are 4 people standing around her, and one has flowers, one has a pitcher of water, one has collard greens, I believe, and a skillet. So it's represented. There is a community, and she's surrounded by care. And sometimes some people don't have anybody. They moved away, and it's just them. Their mother lives on the other side of town. The husband has to work 2 jobs so she can stay home. And then it talks about, how do you, then you have to have the meal tray and then warm it up and get on FaceTime with a good friend to try to keep you company, and definitely using a lot of humor. Like the book says, don't watch the news. Watch humor. Don't get yourself stressed out with all this happening. There's plenty of time to see bad news. It doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
So let that go. Put on good music, watch comedies. And so we also talk about co-sleeping, which I know for some people are very controversial. I co-slept with all 7 of my babies, taught my daughters and my son's wives how to do it. And so we didn't feel the same fatigue. We weren't tired. So I talked to them and say, I'm so exhausted. So what's happening? Well, I have to get the baby. And I know that they were taught, back to sleep campaign, don't put the baby in the bed. But there's also evidence saying the opposite. If you don't drink, you don't smoke, your baby, you have a firm mattress, there is a way to safely co-sleep. So I do explain that in the book. It's an option. It's not definitely do what you feel best about. It's your choice, but women have to keep getting up. And of course, you're going to feel tired. You keep interrupting your sleep as opposed to just rolling over. I'm like, what's all this fatigue going on? I don't remember my generation of folks were feeling so tired. It's one thing to be tired, another thing to be exhausted. Exhausted is not normal. Tired is normal. You're going to build up you're going to get your iron back up, and you have to adjust. You just push a human being out your body. You have the right to be tired. We want you to be tired. That way you'll stay in the bed and rest.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk about that in our childbirth course as well, is that the fact is most people are going to end up co-sleeping in some way, shape, or form, and it's best to know how to do it safely. And then if it becomes just your, regular routine, which it was for me as well, then all the better. But yeah, you want to be sure to know how to do it safely, because you're going to hit that exhaustion point at some point and bring baby into bed. So I'm glad that's in the book too.
I'll fall asleep in the chair, which is worse.
Which is not good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's better to plant and do it right.
Yeah.
Another thing I talk about that you might give me your feedback, in other societies, when a woman has a baby, she has the bed to herself. And so she's able to relax. It's just her and the baby. But here, our partners are right back in bed with us. Sometimes another child is right back in the bed. And we want to be a good mother, support our husband or our partner, make them feel loved. We want the little siblings to feel loved. So in the meantime, the mother's giving out to everyone, trying to make everybody happy, as opposed to just having the first week in the bed with her and her baby so she can just truly relax. I remember my husband finally left the bed. I had so much more space. I felt so much better. Like, you know what? This is a thing right here. I'll meet you in the front room. You can hang out in there. I'll catch up with you. So just the culture that, we all have to be squeezed in the bed all the time. That thing called the family bed. I have a great picture, and it shows the family bed in East Africa. The family bed in other parts of the world, whether it's, India, parts of Asia, Africa, was the floor. People slept on the floor and one on a mat. So your whole room was a bed. That was the family bed. It wasn't a small king-size bed. And it shows the mother breastfeeding with a 2-year-old on the other side. So she has all this space, but we're trying to create that model in a bed that has so much diameter. So if you really want a community bed, lay some mats out on the floor and sleep on the floor, or let your 3-year-old have fun and give him or her a little tent and sleeping bag on the floor. But take a break and just take the first 7 days in bed with you and your baby so you can just stretch out and, get your body loose. She was already cramped up with your pushing in the hospital, most likely. So, yeah, that's another piece I try to talk about.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think for me, I wanted my husband in there because I wanted him to wake up and do the diaper changes and stuff in the middle of the night.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely couldn't have had another child in there with the newborn. I would not have been good sleep. I'm so sensitive to every movement. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, he was able to help you out. And some people find the husbands are small or big and they stay on their side. And sometimes the mother's constantly having to move with the arm of the husband is, flopping over in their sleep or just whatever the case would be. But just
figure out what works for you.
Exactly. Just know that there are options and if a mate is asked to leave the bed for a couple of days, it's not because they're not being loved. Mom just needs a place for me. And that was the main thing. To be creative how we do postpartum care.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, we're going to link to this book from the show notes. And do you have any other resources that you recommend as, having been a midwife for a long time and a mother of 7?
I would say Baby Blues International for mothers, who is a free hotline that mothers can call. And the person who answers the phone has been someone who also experienced postpartum depression and got through it. So they're a lived experience consultant. The other one is ICANN, International Cesarean Awareness Network. Are you familiar with that one?
Yes.
Okay. And those are all I have offhand.
Okay. Awesome. And then where's the best place for people to connect with you, find you online?
Shafia Monroe, Instagram.
Okay.
No, on my website, shafiamonroe.com.
Okay. Awesome. And then your book, I assume, will be available everywhere books are sold?
Yes, absolutely. Amazon, Thrift. I'm learning all this. This is all new to me.
Yeah.
So I told people this really lastly, I'm in my postpartum state right now, Bryn. So I told people to write the book took me 2 years. I was an elephant. So 2 years of pregnancy. And I told people I was in transition for about 6 months, just working every 90 seconds for 60 seconds, every 3 minutes. So I was having these contractions of anxiety, literally. And then on the 27th, the book launched. So I told people I was pushing from the 26th to the 27th. I birthed the book. And so now I'm in my bonding period. I'm getting to know my book. I'm holding my book. I'm flipping through the pages. I'm just trying to, like a new mom, I'm just trying to sit with this book and get to know it and feel like it's okay. Because to be an author, it's a whole other experience for me. Mm-hmm. And so I have to get comfortable with it. So I just want to say that I am in a postpartum period right now.
Yeah.
And I did get flowers when I had the babies.
Oh, good.
When I had the book. I got flowers.
Lots of flowers, I hope.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. All right. Well, yeah, the book is called Mothering the Mother, African-American Postpartum Traditions, Recipes, and Healing. And we will link to it from the show notes, and we'll also share it on social media. Thank you so much again for coming on and talking to us about it.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much again to Shafia for sharing her stories with us and for chatting with me about her book and the work that she does. And of course, thank you to our sponsors, Little Spoon. You can go to littlespoon.com/TBH and use the code TBH to get 30% off your first order. And then Air Doctor, which you can go to airdoctorpro.com and use the promo code BIRTHHOUR to get up to $300 off your order. I will link to those things as well as some of the things that Shafia mentioned in her book and everything on the show notes page, which you can find by going to thebirthhour.com and searching for her name in the search bar, or you can look for links in the podcast app where you're listening to this episode.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, head to thebirthhour.com and click Become a Member to pledge your support. And as a thank you, you'll get an invitation to join our private Facebook group and access to exclusive episodes. Your vote of confidence and support means the world to me.